Hello, welcome to Exploring Christianity, A Journey of Faith. Today we'll explore the question, which version of the Bible is right for me? We'll examine the different kinds of Bible translations and other factors to consider when picking a Bible. The first thing to consider is picking a version of the Bible that's used by your religion. As we saw in the video, how are the Protestant, Catholic, Orthodox, and Jewish Bibles different? These different faiths use different Bibles. While the specific examples I'll talk about today are Protestant Bibles, I believe that what I say is also applicable to Bibles for other faiths. Some denominations and individual churches use specific translations of the Bible, so if you attend a church, you may want to ask your religious leader if there's a preferred Bible there. Secondly, I suggest thinking about how you intend to use your Bible. There are different kinds of Bible translations that work better for different purposes. The three main kinds of Bible translations are word-for-word translations, thought-for-thought translations, and paraphrases. A word-for-word translation, also known as a formal equivalence translation, tries to stay as close as possible to the original wording and grammatical structure. As we discussed in the video, Why Are There Different Versions of the Bible?, it is not feasible to do this entirely, but the word-for-word translations strive to come as close as possible. These translations are generally considered more literal. Because they stay as close as they can to the original text, word-for-word translations can be harder to understand. This kind of Bible is good for deep, in-depth study. I use this kind of Bible for the seminary classes that I took. Examples of word-for-word translation Bibles include King James, New American Standard, and Revised Standard. The second main kind of Bible translation is thought-for-thought, also known as dynamic equivalence translation. In this kind of Bible translation, the message or meaning of the original language is translated into equivalent English words or expressions. These Bibles are easier to understand and are well suited for everyday reading and group study. Examples of thought-for-thought translations include the Common English, New International Version, and the New Revised Standard Bibles. The last main kind of Bible translation is a paraphrase Bible, sometimes called a meaning-based translation. In this type of translation, the focus is on what the original text means without worrying much about the words or phrases they use to express that meaning. They convey the gist of the original text in simple modern English language. These types of translations are a good choice for devotional reading. Paraphrase Bibles include the Message, the Voice, and the Living Bible. While I described these as separate types, it's really more of a continuum from translations that focus strongly on the individual words and phrases to translations that focus strongly on the general meaning. I found a helpful chart on the Bible Gateway website that shows where different translations fall on this spectrum. So how you plan to use the Bible is one factor to consider in selecting a Bible. What are some others? An additional consideration is your reading level. Not everyone is a strong reader, and you don't need to be in order to read the Bible. I found a helpful chart on keithfarron.com that shows the reading level of 15 Bible versions, ranging from a 3rd grade reading level to a 12th grade reading level. And if you don't like reading at all, there are audio Bibles for many different Bible translations available. I'll put a link where you can find these in the comments. Another factor to consider is what kind of language appeals to you. Some people like the older traditional translations like the King James Version, and they find it to be majestic and moving. The these and thous help them to know that God is speaking to them. For other people, this language forms a barrier to them understanding what God is saying. Some people find the modern language of the Message paraphrase moving, and it lets them know that God is right where they are and talking directly to them. Other people find this language too casual, and it makes it hard to experience God's presence. This leads to the final and most important factor that I'll talk about. Which Bible version makes you feel the closest to God? At the end of the day, that is a really critical factor. If you're searching for a Bible translation, use the different considerations we've talked about to find one that sounds like it will be a good fit for you. But if you don't clearly hear God speaking to you in it, try it again until you find one that does. Libraries have multiple translations, so you can experiment for free. God is in all of them, but the strengths and abilities, personality, and preferences that God gave you may make it easier for you to find God in some translations more than others. So what considerations are the most important to you in selecting a Bible translation, and why?